Good evening, and welcome to A Bedtime Story, a Reservoir Dogs bedtime story. Our story begins with something to eat, a chance for our characters to chat and to meet. There's Joe with his book in search of Toby's last name, Mr. Blue, who I wouldn't be hopeful of seeing again. There's Brown, who has too much on Madonna to say, and Blonde, who mimes blowing poor White away. Mr. White knows how to play it cool, bite his lip, and then there's Mr. Pink, who simply won't tip. Mr. Orange is quick to do some tattling, a trick in the biz that we call foreshadowing. But no time for that, ramblers. We've got to get rambling. So off they all go, with single purpose of mind, no idea of the pain and the anguish they'll find. And it might not be pretty, but there's no use denying. There's going to be blood if you want to steal diamonds. So it won't come as a surprise to know that Orange got shot, which is better than Blue or Brown, who either died or got caught. Little solace to Orange as he screams out in pain, though he did find the time to ask White his real name. Eventually they make it to their warehouse rendezvous, there to regroup and plan what to do. Mr. Pink arrives next, with a crash and a clatter, his belief in tipping as strong as his commitment to bedside manner. He thinks Orange is a goner and they've all been set up. He suggests to Mr. White the situation's totally bad luck. Turns out Blonde started shooting with reckless abandon, firing at anyone he saw, even those simply standing. The cops soon arrived, or were already there. But Pink got the diamonds and stashed them somewhere. So while it didn't go perfect, that's for sure, and the team's behaviour was less than 100% pure, there is a chance it all might work out in the end. But then Pink reminds White they can't trust one of their friends. An argument starts. Guns are suddenly pulled. Then Mr. Blonde walks on in, all too cool for school. For a moment it seems like he might defuse the fight, until he asks if White's going to bark all day or if he's gonna bite. And just when it seems the whole caper is sunk, Blonde brings up that he's got a surprise in the trunk. What could it be? I can't wait to find out. Oh no, it's a cop. Things are about to go south. But little do they know, nice guy Eddie's on his way, and he's got a little something on the inefficiency of torture to say. He wants the cars moved. They draw attention out front, but he needs someone to stay with Orange and the surprise from the trunk. He picks Blonde for the task. A fatal mistake. White tries to protest, but it's simply too late. When Blonde's all alone, just him and the cop, he finds little interest in making him talk. Instead, he puts on some music, has himself a little dance. No clowns or jokers here, though, just a sick razor slash. By the time that he's finished, tears have been shed, and the officer in question has one less ear on his head. Covered in gasoline and gasping for breath, the cop begs for mercy. Blonde sparks his lighter instead. But don't worry, dear listener, nothing too awful went wrong. Orange woke up, fired some shots, now that psycho Blonde's gone. It turns out Mr. Orange has been a cop from the start. Now there's a man willing to bleed for his art. When the others return, Orange tries to explain, but nice guy no more Eddie is feeling the strain. It's the end of our cop, I'm sorry to say. And poor Mr. Orange is now more Mr. Grey. Joe strolls on in, the man responsible for it all. He apologises for the mess. He made a bad call. He should have trusted his gut when he felt something was wrong. Should have realised it was Orange that was the problem all along. But White is confused, doesn't know all the facts, points his gun at Joe, a mistake that could be his last. A moment, a pause, 3 pops and then silence. Mr. Pink, the last man standing, makes off with the diamonds. He won't get far though. The police have been waiting. Turns out he was right in almost everything he was saying. Only White and Orange left, though both lives are slipping. Orange tells White he's the rat. You've got to be kidding! And as officers burst in, White's head must be spinning. 'Cause when you live a life of crime, there is simply no winning. I hope you enjoyed that story, and if you did, maybe you consider hitting the like button, the subscribe button, or even that bell icon. If you do, I promise many more stories to come.